Right now on the National Weather Desk, deadly tornadoes. Suspected twisters cause widespread damage across Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. We have team coverage of the devastation and cleanup.
Where right now there is no power, it is pitch black.
I have never seen anything like this in my entire life.
Here comes La Nina. When can we expect the climate pattern to arrive?
And then we quickly increase the chances for La Nina.
Tick season. Why this could be an especially bad year in one part of the country.
Then ticks become active earlier in the spring.
And spring planting. When is the right time to put seeds in the ground?
Get your hardy trees and shrubs in now. Get them. It's a good time to plant them.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans. It was a deadly and destructive night across the Midwest as multiple suspected tornadoes tore through communities in Ohio, Indiana, and Kentucky. At least 3 people are dead and dozens more are injured. The storms were part of a larger system of severe weather that pushed through the Midwest starting yesterday afternoon. Teams from the National Weather Service will be out today to assess the damage. They will determine if these were in fact tornadoes, and if so, how long they were on the ground. At least 20 tornado warnings were issued in Ohio, which has some of the worst damage. This twister in particular was spotted in Logan County, about 70 miles northwest of Columbus. That community was hit particularly hard. The 2 confirmed deaths are in a trailer park there. One person said every building in the community of Lakeside has some form of damage. The winds tossed RVs and trucks onto their sides.
The sirens went off here in Russell's Point, and about 5 minutes later, it sounded like a freight train coming through our front room. And we were hunkered down under a blanket on the floor. It really scared us.
This likely tornado was spotted near Winchester, Indiana. It caused significant damage here, destroying many homes. Officials conducted search and rescue efforts throughout the night, looking for people who may be trapped in the rubble. Just 16 miles to the west of the town of Selma, where town officials say up to half of the buildings in town are damaged. Drone video shows from Kentucky shows the damage the storms did earlier in the evening. This is Milton, which is just across the Ohio River from Indiana. Homes are damaged, trees and power lines are down. The National Weather Service already confirming this was an EF1 tornado with winds up to 110 miles per hour.
There's the wind.
That's the sound of heavy rain and hail and wind in Arkansas. Our storm chaser Brett Adair captured these images along Interstate 49 in Winslow. The good news is that there is no significant damage to report here. We have several reports this morning from our reporters covering the aftermath. We begin with Kate Seifert, who is in Lakeview, Ohio.
This was a car dealership, Austin's at the Lake. Take a look. This was one of the cars that was on the lot, down to power lines, hanging, and you can take a look at this car too. The window, this back window, completely shattered, as well as the front window here. And then I want to bring you around over to this side of the car. Take a look at this. This was a brick building. Here's one of the many bricks that we've picked up that has been left here. The storm strong enough, I should say, to rip down this entire building. A very, very strong storm, obviously, to take down a building completely made of bricks here. Once again, it was a car dealership. Here's a closer look. I want to show you just the glass completely blown out of this vehicle that was on the lot. Just across the street from where I am is a neighborhood, a mobile home neighborhood. All of those homes that we have seen so far completely leveled, completely destroyed.
Here in Logan County, Ohio, the sheriff says that there are 3 people dead due to the storm. 2 of those died during the storm. 1 died of natural causes. You can see the damage is vast. You can see 2 A-frame homes thrown on top of each other. Power lines completely down. Here's a stuffed animal on the ground thrown from one of the homes. People's lives completely disrupted here in Lakeview, a small lakeside community just off of Indian Lake. Now, the sheriff tells us that they plan to do a sky surveillance sometime today in a briefing to figure out what their next steps are moving forward. There is a ton of damage in the downtown area. Power is out for many of these buildings, and they're going to have to continue to work diligently to get this cleaned up.
These 2 homes over here flipped over, almost crushing each other and on top of each other. And then directly here in front, we can see there is a pipe burst with water gushing out, and this home is completely turned on its side.
Follow me out here onto the dock. There is devastation all over the place. We've got debris. This is actually a gas pump here at Spended Day Marina that got toppled. We have a mattress pad along with a sheet, likely from someone's home, blown here on the dock. Twisted metal, more wood right over here. And then let's show you what's in the water. Right back there behind us, look at that. A boat, a pontoon boat, or at least part of it, flipped upside down. And then not far from that, a little further away, we'll zoom down and show you that home where there's another boat flipped up onto its top on a tree that also is down in that yard. The devastation here is extensive.
Extensive for sure. There was plenty of damage also not caused by tornadoes. Columbus meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael has the radar images of the storms as they pass through Ohio.
So the National Weather Service will be surveying this today to determine how long these tornadoes were on the ground, the strength of them, and then there was also other damage in Delaware County over towards Sunbury, Johnstown. This also could have been caused from a tornado. That storm also had rotation as it moved its way across the area. First wave that came through yesterday was not severe. It was the evening thunderstorms that packed the punch, and those have continued to race their way into southern Ohio, a lot quieter, and now those are all gone. Just a few lingering light showers at this point.
Now to today, we're not out of the woods yet. The greatest threat for severe storms is across the south. The areas in the yellow in Texas, Mississippi, that into Alabama have a slight risk, which is a level 2 on the scale of 1 to 5. The marginal risk does extend from Texas to South Carolina. Now to Colorado, where the Denver area slammed by the biggest snowstorm there in 3 years. It forced flight cancellations and shut down parts of the interstate. That's I-70 that connects the city to the mountains. People were stranded in their cars for hours on Thursday. The interstate has since reopened. People also had to deal with widespread power outages. Denver should have over a foot of snow once the storm moves on. Some mountain communities are looking at several feet of snow as well. March is typically the snowiest time of year for Denver, so no surprise. In the Pacific Northwest, March got off to a cold start, but that's about to change. Meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell explains why.
Well, hi there, everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Spring isn't even here, but it's going to feel like it this weekend in the Pacific Northwest. A big warm up on the way for Seattle, Portland, and Spokane. This picture, courtesy of Tim Cameron, is along the shores of Whidbey Island. That's just north of Seattle and Tacoma. It was a beautiful blue sky day then, and a lot more where that's coming from. In the Northwest, through the month of March, it's been really chilly for the first half of the month. Now we're going to see the pendulum swing totally in the other direction and run a lot warmer than normal this weekend. Seattle could hit 70 degrees. That would put us pretty close to record high territory. The first 70-degree day of the year in the Emerald City is usually April 15th. So if we hit it this weekend, we would be doing so an entire month early. The reason it will be so unusually warm is because of a feature known as a thermal trough. That's very much going to be our next weather maker this weekend along the West Coast. Thermal troughs this time of year get going in the Central Valley of California. A lot of heating takes place, and that's happening right now. And then they tend to shoot all the way up the I-5 corridor, pushing through Medford and Portland and eventually arriving in Seattle. When they do so, air, remember, loves to flow from high pressure toward lower pressure. If we have higher pressure, as we do right now sitting in Alberta and British Columbia, all of the air starts to move in this northeasterly direction, trying to fill up that thermal trough as quickly as it can. That's a warm and dry wind direction for us, and that's one of the reasons it's going to be so very mild this weekend around the Pacific Northwest. For the National Weather Desk, I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell.
4, 3, 2, 1.
SpaceX launched its third test flight of Starship on Thursday. It's now the most powerful rocket to reach orbital speeds. The deep space rocket was lost prior to splashdown. Despite the loss, SpaceX is heralding the launch as a major success. It reached orbit speeds and flew much farther than prior Starship flights. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, tick season is getting started. We'll look at why this year you could see more of them than normal.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. We have a wide range of temperatures on the way in the Northeast today. Look at this. Some areas will be near 40 degrees. Some areas will be in the 50s, 60s, and even making a run at 70 degrees through parts of New Jersey and southern New York. The back edge of any rain and mountain snow that's moving out in northern New England. The clouds will be with us during the afternoon. That's 2 o'clock. We're brightest to the south. Then as we go into Saturday, sun and clouds return. Temperatures will be running in the 50s. Another round of precip moves in Sunday morning.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard Jabali. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Your Friday still going to have some scattered showers around as we are going to see things thankfully drying out headed into the weekend. Saturday's looking nice and dry, only a stray shower possible on Sunday. Temperatures are going to take a dive as we head into Friday afternoon. We could still reach the mid to upper 60s. We'll still be in the low 60s on Saturday and once again on Sunday.
I'm meteorologist Vetus Reed. Here's a look at your southeastern forecast. Looks like cooler temperatures up around Nashville at 68 degrees, Atlanta 75, Raleigh 81 compared to those temperatures back to the west. That's because there's a front moving through. That's going to give some showers and thunderstorms over parts of the southeast going into Saturday and Sunday. But then it looks like South Florida will get those thunderstorms as we get to Sunday night, Monday. So you can see those thunderstorms lining up north and west of Atlanta. The warm temperatures ahead of it, but then there's much cooler air moving behind it as this continues to move through the area, get showers and thunderstorms across the southeast as we go through parts of the weekend.
The National Weather Desk.
Tick season is upon us, and it's only a matter of time before they become a more common sight. And as meteorologist Ryan Munn explains, it could be a very active season.
The warmer weather is arriving. Time to get outside, go for walks, hikes, and some spring cleaning around the house. However, this is the time of year that ticks become more active.
We often will look at winter weather, and if we're seeing, warmer winter temperatures, shorter winters, then ticks become active earlier in the spring. We're more likely to encounter them.
Ready to say hi?
The milder weather we've seen this winter may mean a more active season. So, what do you do if you find one on you or your pet?
People that are interested in learning, what kind of ticks they're finding can send those ticks to the lab for a free species identification. And then for a nominal fee, we'll actually test those tick samples to see whether they're carrying some of the pathogens that cause tick-borne illness like Lyme disease or anaplasmosis or Powassan virus.
This also helps them track the geographical distribution of the ticks and their pathogens.
The type of tick that we're most concerned with is something called the deer tick or black-legged tick. It's the one that causes Lyme disease. All the other pathogens that we have here in Maine are transmitted by this tick. And it tends to reside in kind of these forested areas, shady areas, but those areas can certainly occur in and around the home landscape.
Dill says around 70% of the ticks sent into their lab were found near the person's home. And he's reminding everyone, even though it's only early March, you'll want to check both yourself and your pets after spending time outside.
We are just days away from spring, and for most people, warmer temperatures mean getting their gardens ready and stocking up on seeds for planting this season. Taylor Thompson spoke with an expert in North Carolina about when exactly is the right time to get those seeds in the ground.
So these are some of the plants that we've actually pulled in last night.
Jesse Israel and Sons Garden Center has been a staple in the Asheville area for the last 42 years, and Israel himself is the third-generation owner.
You just prepare for it, you know it's coming, and that makes it less of an issue for you.
When he compares this winter to others, Israel says it's been fairly mild.
We have A little cold snap in January, but nowhere near like last year's winter, where we got down close to 0 degrees for an extended period of time.
Adding that he believes we're shaping up for a nice March.
I've seen less winter kill this year in the landscape. Seems like things are leafing out right about on time. I don't think that we're getting too early on things yet.
Israel says that it's okay if we go back and forth a little with cooler temperatures, as he would only be concerned if we see the temperature drop to around 20 degrees.
Get your hardy trees and shrubs in now. Get them. It's a good time to plant them. They're mostly dormant. There's less water demand. They're going to have good time to root in before summer.
And Israel says that the weather we're seeing will only keep increasing his customer base.
These warm days are going to be great for it. You know, anytime we hit 70 in March, the parking lot fills up and everybody gets happy about planting for the spring season.
And right now, Israel says the safest thing you can do is to start getting your beds ready along with planting your trees and shrubs, but to hold off on planting the rest until around the end of April or early May.
Fish anglers in Wisconsin are taking to the open water as the walleye spawning season gets underway. Eric Peterson spoke to some of the fishermen to find out how the start of the season is going.
Alan Soley and his uncle Lucas Soley drove from the western part of the state to fish for walleye on this part of the river.
Our boat's not big enough to be out in the big water, so we're just trying to come in here and get the boat in the water for the first time this year and see if we can't, catch whatever we catch. Hopefully we land some decent walleye though.
Every year, walleye make their way upstream from the waters of Green Bay to places like the De Pere Dam to spawn. The event brings fishermen and women from all over the Midwest. On Monday morning, about a dozen boats were spotted in this area. Anglers don't need to fish on the water. Fishermen lined the shoreline at Voyager Park in De Pere.
Hopefully they're used to catch some fish and use up my minnows.
Yeah.
I've been trying to do that.
Ed Vanden Elzen says he fishes here a lot. On this day, he already has 2 perch in his bucket.
Whatever bites. I've caught pretty much everything that's in the river here over the last few years.
Today's perch, though?
Yeah. That's mainly what I'm after.
Back on the river, fishermen continue to cast, including Alan Soley.
I don't know if it's more so about the fish, but the experience, like meeting new people, doing something you never did before, catching quality fish, and, it's a pretty fun time.
Alan's uncle Lucas agrees.
Just getting a chance to spend some time with my nephew, while he has the time, is what it's really all about for me.
For months, we've been talking about how strong the El Nino weather pattern has been this year, but that's quickly changing. The Climate Prediction Center says La Nina is returning this summer. Meteorologist Christian Palacio looks at the role El Nino has played in our winter weather.
It peaked back in December, bringing sea surface temperatures to more than 3.5 degrees above normal. At this time, those temperatures are coming down, and this is the latest El Nino Southern Oscillation, or ENSO, probability forecast by the Climate Prediction Center. The chance of El Nino still in place is still very high through May, but as we enter the summer months, it becomes neutral, and then we quickly increase the chances for La Nina by the end of summer. What is La Nina? Instead of warm waters, the waters for the eastern Pacific Ocean get cooler. A ridge of high pressure sits in the northern Pacific Ocean, and the pattern changes to a cooler and more stormy pattern in the north with a warmer and dry pattern in the south.
There are some great NASCAR races this weekend in Bristol, Virginia. Let's turn to meteorologist Brandon Lawson for a look at the weather forecast for the races.
So let's talk a little bit about the forecast for you. I want to give you a virtual look at today's forecast. We got to bring the clouds in for your Friday. It's going to be mostly cloudy through the day. We're tracking a cold front moving through Bristol, Tennessee, so some showers and thunderstorms will certainly be a possibility. If you're camping at the campsites or whatnot, maybe headed out to any of the practices, any of the late model races today, definitely want to make sure you're tucking in if any lightning does strike. If you hear thunder roar, go indoors. Definitely remember that for today's forecast. forecast. Saturday looking better. There'll still be a few clouds out there, but I do think the sun going to be showing itself much more to begin the weekend. We've got the truck race on Saturday night. Forecast looks good for it. Will be mostly sunny and dry. 60s through the day. By the time the trucks take the course, we'll be dropping into the 50s. NASCAR forecast for Sunday for the Cup race during the afternoon. 50s and 60s, increasing clouds. And I did bring some raindrops back in the forecast for Sunday. I don't think Sunday's going to be a washout, but there's another weak boundary that'll move through on Sunday. Could kick off a spotty shower or two. Don't think it'll bring numerous delays to the race or long delays, but might bring maybe a small delay to the race if we get a raindrop or two. I'm meteorologist Brandon Lawson. Enjoy the race.
Yeah, let's keep the rain away. As we head to break, we take in the views of Lake Washington, just outside Seattle.
Well, a very good Friday morning, everyone. As we're heading out the door today, we're going to deal with sunshine across a lot of the central plains. However, dealing with the rain moving its way out of the Ohio Valley here this morning. For your Saturday, we're going to deal with temperatures in the 50s and 60s for most of the Midwest and dry by the time that we get to your Sunday. As things fill in here, we're going to have a lot of high temperatures in the 40s and 50s. So a little cooler for your Sunday, but some of us could have a light wintry mix potentially Monday. Have a great weekend.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. A little cool back up in the North Texas, very warm and humid down toward the south. Cold front pushing through will bring some big thunderstorms all the way across central Texas, North Texas, into Louisiana and down near San Antonio, where they could see some very large thunderstorms there. Otherwise, temperatures will be cooling down behind that front, warming up out ahead of it. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, everybody, in TGIF. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. This Friday on the West Coast, it is going to be spectacular. From Seattle to San Diego, we're talking about a spring-like warmth, high 60s, if not 70s, including 72 in the city by the bay. Showers pushing through the Four Corners region. In fact, that's getting in the way of some of the spring training there in parts of Arizona. Otherwise, high pressure bringing on potential record warmth this weekend in the PNW. And that's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Strong storms swept part of the country in a severe weather system impacting parts of Texas and Oklahoma up to Ohio. The sight of ominous clouds Wednesday night and Thursday, quarter to golf ball-sized hail in some places. Here's what fell in the Cincinnati area, hail coating pavement, decks, and outdoor furniture.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
We have a short weather lesson for you today. We want to explain something called the Venturi effect. Theron Zahn explains what it is.
On a blustery day, it can seem especially windy in a downtown area, and there's a reason for that. It's called the Venturi effect. Simply stated, it means when the wind enters urban canyons, like you see right here, squeezed between buildings, it picks up speed, causing those winds to increase even further. The Venturi effect can also happen in mountain canyons, so now you know why it can seem especially blustery downtown.
And if you're looking for more great weather content, be sure to check us out on social media. You can find us on all your favorite platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk or scan the QR code on the bottom left corner of your screen. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us. I'm meteorologist Jordan Evans. Make it a great Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday.